students, I think there are less students that have joined using the original invite of this group. So I request to all of you, if you have any friends that haven't joined, just share the invite code of the team to those students so that they can also join. Okay, just let me share the screen. Okay. So again, I'm telling you that computer networks is one of the easiest subjects. So if you do a revision, quick revision, always if I do the topic and you just revise it for like 15 minutes, I don't think there will be any problem in your midterm, in your end terms and any other evaluation. So I request you all to just give a revision of 15 minutes after attending the lecture or before attending a new lecture. Okay, so previously we have studied some basic terms and some basic aspects of communication. Okay, so there are some basic terms that I already told you. First is protocol, so it is a set of rules that governs the communication. Second is your IP address. What is IP? Internet protocol address. Third is your host ID. Then there is a network ID. So it is a combination of internet protocol address. So it is again, it is divided into two parts. And I think most of these terms are here. So I think I have cleared all these terms because I will be again using these terms again and again. Okay. So just let me also,
Speak for HID or NID, can tell once more.
was what?
HID and NID, sir.
What is HID and NAD?
NID, sir. Yes, sir. Once more, yes.
Okay, I'll tell you. Just wait a second. Okay, so the host ID and a network ID, as I already told you, that IP address is a combination of host ID and a network ID. Okay, so what exactly is the meaning of this? So if you want to communicate with any other device, so most of the time you will be accessing the internet. It seems that you are connected to only one machine, your machine, but it's not like that. Okay, so first when you do the communication from your device, suppose this is your device. Uh, the packet goes out of your network, go to another network. Suppose this is your host, so you probably has some kind of a ID. Okay, so there are many hosts connected to a particular network, so I'm only talking about one host. So this particular host has a particular ID, so to identify this particular host in a particular network. Okay, so there are many networks. There is I'm only talking about one network, that is BSNL. There is another network also there, that is some other kind, it is in other country, like Docomo. In Japan there is a Docomo. So there in different networks there are different hosts. Okay, so this is your host and I want to access some service. Okay, so this becomes my server. Okay, so there is no difference between a host and a server. The host is just the machine that wants to access some services, and the server is just the machine that provides the services to the host. Okay, so it is one and the same thing. There's just a little bit of a difference. Okay, so you mostly have seen that you, when you design your web pages, you activate the server within your computer. So that can also happen when you test the website, your machine can also act as a server. So it's one and the same thing. Okay, so when you want to access a Google page, your host particular from your laptop, that particular has a host ID, particular machine has a host ID, and that particularly request to you to the server. Okay, so how to get to this server? So you have to know about this network. What is exactly the network ID of this network? Because there are many networks that are across the world. Okay, so I want to access this particular service. So this particular service is the nearest to you. So you have to know this network ID and this particular host ID to access the service. Okay, so that is how a particular communication takes place. Okay, so within a server, within a particular network, there are many hosts, but there are but you want to access a particular host where you have requested the service, and this particular host because if you see that this is your network, there are many networks here. This is your host network. There are again many networks here. So this is a decision that to which network you want to go in. There are many networks here. You can go here, you can go here, you can go also there. So whichever is the shortest distance from you, you will always want to go there. Okay, so to decide which is the shortest, there are many algorithms, so that is a different part. I will talk about it when we are talking about routing. Okay, so a host ID and a network ID, that is why in your IP address, there is a combination of your host ID and a network ID. So I do not have to one address that contains like 4 octets, and these 4 octets, depending on the class, is particularly divided into a host ID and a network ID. So I need only one address to access a particular network and to access a particular host in that particular network. So that is the functionality of IP addresses. Okay, I hope you understand. It's just a beginning of a very complex thing. Okay, so I'll discuss each and everything that if we have time, I also tell you extra about this network communication part. Okay, so there are many extra things that are not mentioned in your syllabus, but I from my side, I want to tell you because without it, there is no purpose of studying computer networks. Okay, so now we will start with our OSI model. Okay, so OSI model is just a reference model. Keep that in mind. It's a reference model, and it's a ideal. It's a kind of a ideal model. Okay, so all the tasks that are involved in a communication is based on the division of tasks. All the tasks that are involved in a communication are divided into different layers. Okay, so it contains several layers, but before going into the layers one by one, again I will only give you a brief introduction, because we will study each and every functionality of a different layer individually. So that will I always the part that is not involved very deeply, I will tell you about that part, because there are some parts that are not given in your syllabus. So I will also mention that part in detailed manner in this particular lecture. Okay, so don't worry about that part. Before going into that, so if you see that how a communication takes place. Okay, so exactly there will be a one host, and there is some kind of a network that I already told you, and from this network you will connect to a server. Okay, so every internet communication is based on these three things. There will be a host that will request a service from a particular network, and that server will give you back the service that is requested by a host. But if you see that most of the time that when you access a Google page, what happens is that it almost loads instantaneously. What happens is that it seems like that client and server, or host and server, is present in the same network. It looks like that, but it is not like that. Okay, so I have to I have to design in such a way. I have to design a network. I have to design a network architecture in such a way such that the user think that a client and server is present in the same host or same network or same area. So I just want to design a network, just like if you have studied OS, just like the inter-process communication, the communication between processes are taking at different partitions, but it looks like that they are only that they are interacting with each other in the same network, in the same CPU, in the same domain. So I just want that. So because if you see that there is some kind of the concept of abstraction. Okay, I do not want to confuse user. I do not want to confuse user with the complexity of the network. So how complex the network is, how the communication is taking place, I do not want to bore the user with this thing, that how exactly the communication is taking place. I only want the user to think that you just type the thing that you want, and everything that you requested, the service is returned to you instantaneously. So I do not want to bore the user with uh, the unnecessary complications of the network. Okay, so our main goal of this OSI model is to provide the abstraction layer. Okay, so client will be thinking that from this OSI model, I taken some kind of input and give it to the OSI model, and this OSI model will return the desired output. Okay, so this particular thing is acting as an abstraction. So in this particular abstraction, there are many things that are going on. Okay, so there are many network architectures or many reference model or many different network models that are already there. So the most popular ones are your ISO, OSI. So the I think the full form of OSI is Open System Interconnect. Don't worry about it, I'll tell you. Another one is also very popular, that is your TCP IP. And the third one is your ATM, asynchronous. This I don't remember the full form. I'll tell you about this one. Okay, so this is a different. This is totally different from these two models, and there is another that is also a very different model, that is X.2425. Okay, so mostly we follow these two layered architecture. All the computer networks are based on these two particularly model architectures. Okay, so the ISO OSI, the full form of this is in ISO, we know, International Standard Organization, and OSI is Open System Interconnection. Okay, so OSI is again a reference model. It is a basic reference model, is an abstract description. I already told you it's an abstract. So we want a layer of abstraction so that the user does not bother about the complexity of the network, that how a particular communication between two networks are taking place. Okay, so it was developed as a part of Open System Interconnection Initiative. So this is a initiative taken by there are various different companies. This is a private initiative that is taken by to ensure that the communication is secure between two entities. Okay, so in its most basic form, it divides the network into 7 layers. Okay, so keep in mind there are 7 layers. There is no need to remember the names of the layer, because we will go in each layer individually. So you will understand that what exactly is going in. There is no need to remember the name of any layer. Okay, so we will go in each layer individually, very thoroughly. So you will automatically remember the names of the layer. Okay, so still it is therefore often referred to as OSI 7 layer model. Okay, so the 7 layers that I already discussed you in the first lecture also is this physical layer, data link layer, network layer. So these 3 layers, these four layers, I think 4 layers. The first 4 layers are related to communication, totally communication, and the remaining 3 layers are just a user application layer. Okay, so there are many functionality that is provided in the, but it is a kind of a user, what I call it, user for user convenience. Okay, so the option of like encryption, decryption, so the option of dialogue control, option of communicating it securely. Okay, so that particular things are provided by these 3 layers, but actually our work is based on these 4 layers. Okay, so again I want to tell you for specific things about that these first 2 layers, this it will mostly the detail of this, it is a hardware part. Okay, so if I talk about it, this particular thing is totally based on hardware. Okay, so in physical layer, I already told you there will be different kinds of wires, there will be different kinds of devices like switches, hubs, all the devices that will be discussed in your lab. I'll also discuss a detail about this, but first you understand that how these particular layers are working. The second layer has a hardware and a software component also. Okay, so I'll again discuss about the software component, and the third and fourth layer are completely based on the software component. Okay, so this particular layer, the transport layer, is also referred to as a thick layer because it has a very large functionality. There are many things going on here. Okay, so the difference between is network layer and transport layer is a little bit, I'll tell you about with the example, but it's very similar, but there is a little bit of difference between them. But the functionality of transport layer is very high. It contains many things. Okay, so the network layer, mostly it is used for routing. Okay, so the routing means that what exactly is a routing? Okay, so I'll tell you. So suppose this is your modem, and there are many paths, many networks, many paths that are available, and your modem is standing at here. So to which the this is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. Okay, so which path to follow? Do I go from A to B? Do I go from A to C? Do I go from A to D? Okay, so this particular thing, that which path to follow, is decided by this network layer. Okay, keep in mind this particular thing, that which path to follow is particularly decided by network layer. Okay, so again I will go into very deep detail, that if a particular message, okay, so if I talk about a very uh, suppose that you have a message like uh, your name. Okay, so something like this, Ram. Okay, so because it is a character, so it is again suppose a particular one character is of 1 byte. Okay, so this character is of also 1 byte, this character is of also 1 byte. Okay, so totally suppose there are 3 bytes, I can call it 3 into 8, it's 24 bits. Okay, so these 24 bits, if you're thinking about this what exactly is a bit? What exactly is a bit? It is either 0 or a 1, because we are following a binary system. So how this 24 bits are present in this particular modem, and if you're thinking about this is just a series of ones and zeros. Ones and zero means that if you know about signal processing in digital, you have already studied that that if you want to denote a zero, your voltage will be zero or current will be zero. If you want to denote a one, it there will be a spike, there will be a voltage. Okay, so it is also if you think about the hardware part of the computer also, our computer also communicate in the language of zeros and ones. Okay, so if you want to denote a zero, there is a spike in the voltage. It will suppose if you are in a CD or a DVD writer, you will think when there is a light that is shined on the CD, there that particular thing denotes to a one. If you are was shining, there is nothing, there is zero. Okay, so there are many things that are related to CD and DVD also, because when you write a CD, what happens is that by shining the light on that, there is something called a ridge. Okay, so if the ridge is formed, this particular thing is connected, that it is one. If there is nothing, it is plain, it is referred to as zero. So there are many ways to interpret the series of ones and zeros, how they are actually communicating with each other. Okay, so also there are many chances that this ones and zeros can also be in interpreted differently. Okay, so there is also many chances that if I do not shine a voltage at a particular time, if there is a voltage overloading, so that zero can also become a one. Okay, so there are also many errors that are related to these things. So that particular things we have to take care of, these particular things, the error correction, error detection in these particular physical layers. In data link layer, I'll tell you about it. Okay, so what's the function of each and every layer? So keep in mind that the first 4 layers are very important to you, but for the third, the last 3 layers are mostly is for user convenience. Okay, so if you want to skip that part also, you can skip, but still there are many important functionality that is provided by these particular layers, because if I want my communication to be very secure, I will refer to these particular layers. I want to encrypt my data, I want to decrypt it. So these layers are very much usage to it, because in the starting days, the first 4 layers are very we are giving stress to these first 4 layers, but nowadays we also give these the stress on these 3 layers also, because as the communication is increasing, we also want the communication to be very secure. Okay, so now going into the first layer, that is your physical layer. Okay, so the physical layer deals with physical wires. Okay, so mostly it will be a wire, it will be another devices like switches, wires, hubs. Don't worry about it, I will discuss each and every device, gateway thoroughly, because it's also a part of your lab. Don't worry about that part. Okay, so now the main part, if you see this, is physical characteristic of an interface and a medium. Okay, so it is talking about interface and a medium means it is talking about some devices. The interface like gateway can act as an interface, the router can act as an interface, the medium will be your wire. Okay, so wire, you can connect two routers by using a wire. Okay, next is the representation of echo. Say the stream of zeros and ones with no interpretation and encoding into signals. So first thing that in your physical layer, only the streams of zeros and ones will be transferred to the another. Okay, so if you're seeing here in the diagram, you are thinking that why there are two physical layers, and again there is again another one is data layer. If you understand the order here is P, D and T. Okay, so P, D and T, keep in mind P, D and T. Okay, so this seven layers, when you are at the sender side, this seven layers will be from 7 to 1, and when you are on the receiver side, the seven layers will be 1 to 7. What do I mean by this? When you send the signal, it will go from the seventh layer to sixth layer to fifth layer to fourth layer to 3 to 1, and from this it will be encoding into the messages of ones and zero, and then it is transferred to this one. Okay, so from this one it will again goes to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7, and then it will be interpreted by the receiver. Keep in mind. Okay, so now you see here it is only talking about the physical layer. So this is your sender and this is your receiver. Okay, so again it goes from 7 to 7 to this physical layer, and from this physical layer again it is transmitted by using some transmission medium, by using transmission medium like a wire or a fiber optic or any kind of a transmission equipment, and it again goes to receiver. From receiver it is again starting from 7 and going towards, this is your sixth, this is your data link. Sorry, this I don't think
One
it
to
is
one
again,
to
it is
seven.
physical. What?
It must be 1 to 7, right? From receiver.
Yeah, okay. So again it will go from sorry, 1 to 7. Sorry about that. Okay, so it will again go from 1 to 7. Keep in mind when you send a message, it will be from 7 to 1, 7 to 1, and when you receive a message it will be from 1 to 7. Okay, so another thing is representation of bit. Don't worry about it. I just want to say 10 and 11. Don't worry about how the bits here come. That is the part of your upper layers, that how to encode the bits. The task of this physical layer is what it receives, it just physically transfer it to another one. Okay, so there is nothing to it, it's just a physical device, just a physical device used to transfer the bits from one layer to from one receiver, from one sender to another receiver. Just a simple, so you can assume that it is a client, this is your server. Okay, so how the server interprets how another machine go, what there are in the path, there are many routers, which path to follow. Now which path to follow, there is also a problem. This particular kind of thing is written in these bits. Okay, so just there should be a intermediary devices like routers that can understand this. Okay, so that can understand this by understanding the bits, that which path to follow, where to go. There are many things, don't worry about it, I will discuss each and every part individually. Okay, so now there is another thing called a data rate. So data rate will be that duration of the bit, how long will it last, meaning that when you're sending a signal, suppose this is my this is your sender and this is your receiver. Okay, so I send a signal, I want to receive this signal in a particular amount of time. Suppose I fix the time that in 20 millisecond I should receive a response. If I do not receive a response, I will again send the signal. Okay, so this is the data rate. Okay, so data rate is just like your network speed, that decides how early you got the response from the server. Okay, so synchronization of bit, that is sender, between sender and receiver, how the synchronization will take place. Okay, so if I said that I send my message at 8:41 a.m. So the receiver should receive at 8:42 a.m. If it does not receive, it cannot be able to send a particular acknowledgement that I have received the signal at 43 a.m. Okay, so there are particular synchronization of bit means that I know that my sender, when I send a response, my machine knows that at what time I will receive the signal. Okay, so this is why
Sorry, the voice is not audible.
Yes, sir. Sir, you're not audible, sir.
on the net, no? Hello. Okay, sorry for that. I think my network was a little bit weak. Just in. Okay. So I was talking about the synchronization. Okay, the synchronization bit it just knows how at what time I will receive an acknowledgement. So synchronization is also a very important part. I'll tell you about it. Okay, so there is another thing called line configuration. Okay, so line configuration is that the there are many connection, that is your point to point or point to multi-point. Okay, so the point to multiplied point to multi-point connection means that again your this particular router is connected to different routers. Okay, so which path to follow, again the problems lie here. Physical topology, this part, again this part will be discussed again completely in detail, because there are many topologies that are followed there. Okay, so another one is a transmission medium. Okay, so the transmission medium is just the transmission types here. So first is simplex, half duplex, and full duplex. Okay, so the simplex, I just take a little bit. So I just write it here. Okay, so the simplex is a very simple thing. Simplex means that there is only one-way communication between a sender and a receiver. Okay, so this is why sender either at one time the sender can transmit a message to a receiver. At one time, a sender can transmit a message to a receiver, or at one time, only one from only just wait a second. Okay, so simplex is one of the simple form of communication. It means that a sender can only send a message to a receiver cannot send it back. Okay, so the half duplex means, half duplex, I'll explain you, just wait a second. Half duplex means that sender and receiver can send the message to both. Okay, so it can send it to here, the receiver can send it back to the sender, but not at the same time, okay. So suppose if I'm sending the message from my side at 8:40 a.m., so the receiver cannot send the message from his side from 8:40 a.m. So there will be no communication between that if that happens. So the classic example of this is walkie-talkie. Okay, so that is why if you see in movies, most of the time they will say over. So that is why they said over, because they cannot communicate at the same time. You have to listen to it, then you have to give a feedback to other. Okay, so this is your half duplex. And the full duplex, or simply a duplex, it is also referred to as a duplex or a full duplex. So full duplex means that you can transfer, or you can send and receive at the same time. Okay, so there is no problem, at the same time you can send and receive. It is just a classic example of your mobile phones. Okay, so when you are talking to each other, you can you are sending at the same time and also receiving at the same time. So that is why there is also verbal feedback. So sometimes on the phone, you also get the person talking back to you. So again, that is just a basic thing, that when you are discussing with each other, you talk over each other, so you do not understand anything. So that is the same thing. So duplex is the communication that occurs at the same time. Half duplex is the communication that occur at one time. So the both at the same time, both, not the receiver not the sender, can transmit the message. Keep in mind. And simplex is only the one thing, that either a sender can send to a receiver, or it will be a receiver can send to a sender, but it will, the connection is a fixed connection. Okay, so either it will be sender sending to a receiver, or a receiver is sending to a sender. There will be no the connection is not from both sides. Keep in mind, in half duplex the connection is both side, but that is not at the same time. But in duplex or full duplex, it is everything. Okay, so all the limitations of the previous one is covered in this one. Okay, so this is the transmission mode. Okay, so the transmission mode of the physical layer consists of these three particular things: simplex, half duplex, and full duplex. Okay, so it depends upon the equipment, the physical equipment which you are using. If you are using a simple equipment that only supports simplex communication, so you will be only able to send the message from sender to receiver. You will not be able to receive anything in return. Another one is half duplex. You can send and receive, but not at the same time. In full duplex, you can send and receive at the same time. Okay, so there is another thing, that second layer. Okay, so that second layer called a data link layer. Okay, so the data link layer has a very high functionality. Again, I'll tell you about that. Okay, so framing is one part of it. Again, we are going to do that right now. Okay, so it is not mentioned there anywhere, so I'll talk about it right now. Okay, so physical addressing, I'll talk about a bit later. Just wait for a second. Okay, so again, flow control, error control, and access control. Okay, so again, this is again a part of your syllabus. What is exactly a flow control? Means that you have to control the flow. Okay, so what is the meaning of a control flow? Means that when you are transmitting message from a sender to receiver, so there are many things going on here. So first it will be 1000, the streams of bits where it will be transferred from sender to receiver. And a receiver, when receiving the message, should have to send the acknowledgement back to sender. Okay, so this is kind of a flow. First you send the message to a receiver. The receiver will send acknowledgement that I have received the message, and then receiver will send the response, that what is the response according to what you have sent. Okay, so this is kind of a flow. So I have to control the flow. To control the flow, there are particularly three particular techniques that we use, that is your stop and wait stop and wait. I'll discuss each and every one of them in great detail. Don't worry about it. So the another one is go back, and another one is your SR protocol. Okay, so there are three particular flow control mechanisms that we use to control the flow between a sender and a receiver. Don't worry about it, I will discuss each and every one in detail. Another thing is your error control. Okay, so there are many techniques that are present here, but particularly we use the most effective one, that is your CRC, and another is your checksum. I am only telling you the name because it is also mentioned in your second module. So in that module, I will discuss each and every one of it. Okay, so again, when I will be discussing a particular technique, I will also tell you about that in which layer it is present and what is the functionality of that. Okay, so don't worry about that part. And another one is your access control. Okay, so control the access of it. Again, what is exactly is a access? Access is when you are sending. Okay, so when, because I have already told you there is something called a full duplex. Okay, so in full duplex what happens is that you use from a sender to receiver, you both can send the packets at the same time. You can both send the packets at the same time. Now what happens, how this particular thing, what how this particular functionality is there? Because what happens is that when you are suppose this is 8:41 a.m., this is again sending a response at 8:41 a.m. So what happens is that exactly they are following the same medium, they particularly collide with each other. Okay, so the collision takes place, suppose it takes like at 8:42 a.m. Okay, so there is a problem with full duplex that is solved by this access control methods. Okay, so access control methods are CSMACD. Again, I will discuss it in deep detail because it is already given in the syllabus. And another one is your token passing. There are many methods also, but the most effective ones are these. Okay, so now the framing is not given anywhere, so I will discuss the framing part right now. Okay. Okay, so again, the physical addressing I will tell you about in the network layer, that what exactly is the physical addressing. Okay, so framing. Okay, so I'll get back to the framing here. Okay, so now framing. One thing that I again want to tell you, that when you are at the physical layer, okay, physical layer. So exactly, I can just tell you about what exactly is happening in each layer, but I just want to introduce with each layer with just slowly and slowly, because we will go in each layer functionality very thoroughly. So there are some functionalities that are not given, so I also want to introduce you to that functionalities. Okay, so when we are at a physical layer, it is only dealing with physical devices. Okay, so there is nothing much to it. I will again discuss the devices, don't worry about it, but it is more of a hardware part. But when we are a data link layer, there is a software part that is very that is a framing. Okay, so again, when we are at a data link layer, that is your second layer, this is your first layer. Okay, so when we are at a physical layer, we are at a physical level. So the devices will be, suppose there is a router, this router is communicating with this router is communicating with this router. Suppose this is a very simple path. Okay, so the communication is between device and device. Okay, so the device will be a physical device and this is also a physical device. But when we are at a data link layer, okay, so the data link layer, all the communication that is taking place is between a LAN. Okay, so keep this thing in mind. Most of the time this particular aspect is looked out. Okay, so if you understand that exactly what I am saying at what point, these are very important points. Okay, it will help you in your understanding that why I am saying that when I am a data link layer, when I am at a data link layer, why I am at a LAN. Okay, so LAN, I already told you that this is your router. Suppose this is your router, this is connected to internet. Okay, so I'll saying it again, I'm saying it, this is connected to internet, but on to this router there are many devices connected to it. Okay, so this particular area is your LAN. Okay, so when you are at a home and when you are connected to a particular router, your all the devices can communicate with each other. Okay, so there is a way you can get these devices to communicate with each other. Suppose if you have seen if you have two laptops that are connected to the same uh, what do I call it, same network or same router, you have seen something like this here. Okay, so there is a network option here. There will be many laptops that are listed here. Okay, so there are it is my laptop, but if any laptop or any devices is connected to the same network, here you will see another thing. Okay, so that is why I'm saying that when I am talking about data link layer, I'm talking about the communication between the devices that is present in the same network. So that is why I'm talking about only LAN. Okay, so this all the techniques that is going on, the techniques that I have told you, the CSMA, the token passing. Okay, so I think it's gone from here. Okay, the CSA, all the techniques that I have already told you, that was CSMA CD, token passing, CRC checksum, uh, all the things that are going on here, it is a part of a LAN. Okay, so what exactly now, how to do a framing? So framing is nothing, it just to take to what do I say it, taking the data from the above layer and putting it into frames. Okay, so don't worry about it. So suppose, because again I told you that this is your sender, this is your receiver. Okay, so you do not know what is going on here. So I'm talking about PDNTSPA. Okay, so you are at here. Okay, so you will start from application layer when you're sending application, presentation, session, and transport and network. Okay, so I do not know, you do not know from here that what exactly these layers are doing. Don't worry about it. Okay, so suppose some data is transferred to this data link layer. Okay, so I'm talking some data like of 4 bits or 4 bytes from the network layer is passed to a data link layer. Okay, so the task of this data link layer is to put that 4 bytes of data into frames. Okay, so this is framing. Okay, so framing is what it is, just taking the data from the above layer and putting the data into frames. Okay, so it is just a basic thing like that. Okay, suppose this is your LAN. Okay, so this is your LAN, and to this LAN there are many devices connected. Suppose this is A, this is B, and this is C, and this is D. Okay, okay, so suppose what happens here, that okay, so suppose this A want to communicate with the another device, that is your C. Okay, so I'll call it a station 1, station 2, station 3, station 4. Okay, so this station 1 tries to communicate with station 3. Okay, so there is also a problem here, that when you are present at a LAN, I am talking about when we are present at a LAN, I am on a data link layer. Okay, so now when I receive a packet, when I receive some kind of a data from a network layer, I'll divide the data into frames. Okay, so that is fine, but that frame is meant for, suppose that frame is meant for this particular station C. Okay, so I want to send I am there is I am present here, the frames are here. Okay, so the frames are here, and this particular, there are particular frames that are that are related to this. I want to send this particular frames to C. So there is a problem, that how do I send it? Because if you're seeing that the data was first something like 4 bytes, it is completely whole. When I go towards the data link layer, it is particularly divided into again frames. Okay, so that is how the framing works. Now I want that from because I am at the data link layer, I want a particular frame to go towards a particular destination, that is my C. Okay, so again I am present in the LAN. Again I want to transfer some particular kind of a frame to another one. Okay, so how can I do that? Okay, so the first thing is you take a frame. Okay, so you take a frame, you write a source here, source and a destination. The source, you already know that if you are at A, you will write A, and if your destination is C, you write a C, or if you are station 1 and station 3. Okay, so you take a frame, and you transfer it to, you take a frame and you divide it into two parts. The frame, you added these two parts, that is your source and destination. Okay, so at a source you will write that I am sending it. At the destination you will write that whatever is the whatever it is meant for. Okay, so now there is again a problem of security. Okay, so how will you send it? Okay, so if you are at A and if you want to send a frame, so there is in between another station, that is B. Okay, so B, again B is also there, then it go towards the C. Okay, so it is meant for C, but now the problem is how what do I say it, ki when this C is accepting a message, when this C is accepting a message, uh, does it mean that C is continuously looking for a message? Okay, so if I say that if I'm sending a message, if C is sleeping, how does the C station know that a particular sender is sending a message? Okay, so it means that I have to keep him awake, I have to keep everyone awake to listen that a message is sent. Okay, I have to keep every station awake to listen that a message is sent. So that is the problem is solved. The first problem was that I want to send the frame to a particular destination inside a LAN. Okay, so the problem was is how to send a message to a particular station. So what I'll do, I'll add two things, that is my source and a destination. So I'll add two things. Okay, so now the problem arises that for the source and destination, every station will have to be awake to know that the message is going on between the station. And by looking at the source and the destination, suppose the frame arrives at B, now it is awake, now the B is awake, it is saying what is the source and what is the destination. So it sees that the destination is not my destination, so it just again do not read the contents of the message and pass it towards the next one. Again, when it reaches at C, it sees what is the destination of the address, what is the destination of the packet. When it sees that the destination of the packet is C, it will also see who sent it. It will see that A station has sent me a message, and it will read the contents of the message. Okay, so now the problem is
Sir,
keeping them awake. Yes, yes.
sir, only the station between the source and destination has to be awakened.
No, no, it's not like that, because in the LAN, everything is awakened. Okay, so when you are connected in a station, suppose, that is why I'm talking about in a LAN. Okay, so the problem is in a LAN is if I want to awake one, I have to awake all. Okay, so if I want to awake B, I have to awake C, I have to awake D, I have to awake E. So that is the problem. So if I want to awake one, I have to awake all. Okay, so that is the problem.
So your voice is not audible again.
Yes, sir. Awake. Okay. Just wait a second. मेथड दे होते आईफोन दे आ गया okay sorry for that my connection is fluctuating why I don't know why it doesn't usually do that okay. So now see, now I'm talking about in a LAN. Okay, so the only problem is if you want to awake one, you have to awake all. So by awaking all, there is a one problem that if C is continuously looking for a message, B is also continuously looking for a message, D is also continuously looking for a message. It's a wastage of a time and a CPU wastage. Okay, so it is a very high amount of wastage because if in a station there are devices connected, if they are all awake, the time and CPU wastage meanings you have to provide the resource allocation inside a computer for a particular thing. That particular thing will that you should keep looking for a particular message. Okay, so first problem, again I am repeating myself, there are so many problems and there are so many solutions. So the first problem was what I taken, there is no problem. First I taken a message from a network layer, I that is given to a data link layer, and this data link layer have taken a message and divided into frames. Okay, so now this frames, now I'm talking about everything in LAN. So this is your LAN, and in this LAN there are various devices connected. Okay, so this frame first frame I want to communicate from one station to another. So first of all, I do not know the address of each and every one of it. So when I'm doing the framing, I will add one thing. The problem was I do not know which frame is meant for which station. So the solution was to give a source and a destination. Okay, so by giving a source and a destination, I know that for a particular thing, for a particular source, for a particular destination. Okay, the second thing that I have to keep, the second problem was I have to keep everyone awake, because because it is connected to a wire, if one station is awake, every station will be awake. So I have to keep everyone awake to know that the message is there. Okay, so when A is transmitting message, I have to awake all the stations to know that the message is transmitted. But actually what happens is that by doing this, what happens is that there is a CPU wastage as well as there is a time wastage. Okay, so that is your third problem. Okay, so uh, before the solution, what happens was that the stations are all on and awake at the all the time. Okay, so they are always listening to this line, that is there a message sent to it or is there a message that is not sent to it. Okay, so the solution that is given to us is SFD. Okay, so SFD is of the frame start of the frame delimiter. Okay, so how it is a solution? Okay, so it is like uh, the problem was every station is awake at all the time. Now the problem, I again write it so completely. The problem was all stations are awake at all the time, all stations are listening for a packet, for a frame. Okay, so for a frame, again when I'm again there is one term here, when I'm talking about data link layer, you cannot call anything, there will be only frames, do not call it a packet. Okay, so packet will be called in network layer, I'll tell you about it. But when I'm talking about in data link layer, the division of this particular small packets is called a frame. Okay, so the problem is that all the stations are listening for a frame. Okay, so now the solution for this was SFT. Now SFT is what start of the frame delimiter. Now what happens is that now this is a frame. Okay, so this frame contains your starting address and ending address, that is your A and C, and towards the start of it I added another thing, that is your SFD. Okay, so SFD uh, is like a music, is like a very loud music, or is like a alarm that awakes all the station, that you should awake because a packet is coming. Okay, so the previous problem was all the stations are listening for a frame for all the time. Okay, for all the time, because if one is awake all the time, these stations are listening for a packet. So this was the problem. So to solve this, there is something called SFT. Okay, so it is like a loud alarm or a loud music. Suppose a music like when you enter in a darbar, like Azimo Shan Chehencha, something like this. So all stand up because the Badshah is entering, something like this. And what happens is that when at start of the frame delimiter occurs, all the stations awakes up, and they started listening on the wire that which particular packet is sent and which is meant for which one. Okay, so suppose if it is on B, it will see that there is destination address is C, so it does not do anything, it just stays awake. And when it reaches to the destination, it will see that it is C, and it will look that who is the sender, and it will see the contents of the message. Okay, so that is the problem that is solved by. Keep in mind that is start of the frame delimiter. Now start of the frame delimiter is nothing but just a pattern of zeros and ones. Okay, so it's a particular pattern that awakes all the stations, pattern of zeros and ones. Okay, so to recognize this pattern, now everything is kind of a connected here. To recognize this particular, if you have studied something called, because I don't think you have studied theory of computation, but keep in mind, I think you have coded something called a regular expression. Okay, so if you have studied Python, you have studied I think regex. I think it is in MATLAB or in Python. Okay, so regular expression or something. Okay, so this regular expression is kind of a very efficient, effective method to recognize a particular pattern. Okay, so this for this from this regular expression, your sequential circuits. Okay, so sequential circuit, I hope you have studied it in digital. So all the things are now coming apart. That is why I'm saying that your data link layer is a combination of a software and a hardware. If you're seeing now, the hardware part is here, that is your sequential circuit, that is your flip-flop. Okay, so now this flip-flop has a tendency to recognize that SFT. Okay, so this particular flip-flop can recognize your start of the frame delimiter. Okay, so again I'm going in such great detail, so there is no necessity to it, but if you are doing networks, I think you should understand that how a particular network inside a LAN is going on. Okay, so now keep in mind. Okay, so this is a simple thing. Now we are only talking about the communication inside a LAN. I am not talking about the communication with other machines. I am only talking about, we are not going towards the internet. We are staying at home and we are just transferring one packet, one frame to another frame. Okay, so again, just to repeat that what I have done here, because I know that it's a little bit difficult to understand in the starting because there are so many things going on. So I'll repeat myself here again. You should also revise
Excuse me,
before
sir.
attempting the next lecture. Yes, yes, yes,
Sir,
yes.
actually, we have a class at 9:30.
Oh, sorry for that.
So the
I
time
just
is
don't know.
allotted till
Okay, okay, sir.
9:15 for first class.
Okay, okay. So you should go. You should go. Okay. You can leave the class. I will discuss it in
Thank
the
you, sir.
next lecture.
Thank you, sir.